Hello, I'm Sean Elliott, and I'd like to welcome you to the first of our series of presentations today on financing your post-secondary education with Georgian College. We're going to be sharing some financial tips to help you make plans for post-secondary education. Although this session is designed for all students bound for post-secondary schooling, let me take a moment to speak to those of you who are considering Georgian College. Degrees, diplomas, certificates, apprenticeships, and more. Georgian College offers more than 125 market-driven programs to accelerate your success. Georgian is Ontario's #1 cooperative education college and #1 in graduate employment among all English language Ontario colleges. We're recognized as a trailblazer in entrepreneurship and social innovation education. Georgian is home to 11,000 full-time students, including 1,100 international students from over 60 countries. We are a mid-sized college with 7 campuses located across central Ontario in Barrie, Orillia, Owen Sound, Orangeville, our South Georgian Bay campus located in Collingwood, Midland, and our Muskoka campus located in the town of Bracebridge. Our core focus is to accelerate the success of our students by focusing on 3 key pillars. First, by accelerating your learning, by offering a breadth of options designed for your goals and desires. Second, accelerating your career by connecting you with over 6,200 employers that we work with. And third, by accelerating your future, by infusing your experience with innovative and entrepreneurial education so that you can be ahead of the curve and be part of the industry changes. Now back to the presentation. Let's take a moment to look at the financial tips in our presentation. In our series on financing your post-secondary education, we're going to offer some tips in the following talks. In the first talk, we're going to first discuss the actual costs of being a student, what it really looks like out there. We're going to talk about housing costs, food costs, budgeting tips, managing your finances, and how to do some research to ensure you're getting the most bang for your buck. We'll talk about the free money that's available out there in awards, scholarships, and bursaries. Third, we're going to help you make sense of the OSAP application and talk about some of the most frequently asked questions we've gotten over the years about how to best fill out that app. And fourth, finally, we'll give you a really solid top 10 list of things we think you should know before you venture out on your own. Ideally, if you can access all of these talks, you'll get a sense of how they all work together to prepare you for the financial side of your post-secondary commitment. This is our first talk in our series, The Costs of Being a Student. Let's talk about the actual costs. Let's go through this together and see what we're actually looking at when we're thinking about post-secondary education. Has anyone considered post-secondary education as an investment in your future? Now, many of our grads realize this when applying for a job in their career field. They have to present their qualifications, and when they see what their education has given them, they see what this investment has given back to them. Post-secondary education can be an expensive venture. Assessing your expenses can help you with post-secondary commitments. Being serious with your money can give you the freedom to reach your goals and to have a balanced lifestyle. So let's look at some of the factors that will impact your expenses, because it will differ between every person depending on all these factors. First, we'll look at the location of the school. If you're looking at a place that is close to home or where relatives can help, this can decrease your expenses drastically. Moving farther away increases your costs in thousands of dollars. Housing costs can differ dramatically from one city to another city or urban center to rural areas, and we'll discuss housing options soon. The choice of study. There can be quite a bit of difference between different programs, such as office administration that could be at $3,900 per year versus a golf management degree a little under $10,000. Tuition costs can vary from school to school. The length of the study period can affect this drastically. Are you creating a budget for an 8-month program or a 12-month academic year? Will a field placement, co-op, or internship be part of that academic year? Are you doing a one-year certificate with the intent of going straight to work, or a three-year diploma with the consideration of articulating into a university program afterwards? Books, supplies, and equipment costs are all expenses that affect your educational success. Where you plan should be part of that equation. If you have the opportunity to stay close to home and commute or live with someone you know, you can enjoy a massive cost saving on housing. If you're considering living away, then on-campus residence options are often a great choice for students leaving home for the first time, as they offer easy access to the school, security, sometimes a meal plan, and the chance to meet and mingle with new friends. Now at Georgian, we offer on-campus residence options at our Barrie, Orillia, and Owen Sound campuses. But on-campus residences aren't for everyone, and if you choose to live off-site, then at Georgian we recommend students utilize a housing site called placesforstudents.com, which will list approved listings that are recommended for student housing. If you do live off-site, then really this is where your budgeting begins. You need to factor in all living costs like rent, utilities, day-to-day living expenses, laundry, and so on and so forth. Write down what you anticipate these items will cost, either monthly or annually, and then add up the number at the bottom, and that will give you just the cost of living away from home for your first year at school. Looking at our conservative sample budget costs an average total of $1,770 a month, which actually equals about $15,160 per year in living costs. That's for an 8-month program. If you're looking at a 12-month program, that could exceed over $21,000 a year, and that doesn't include educational expenses yet. Now the estimates that are listed with each factor are average estimates. Some students can have higher amounts if they're not careful in their planning arrangements. So transportation, depending on whether you buy a monthly bus pass or if you use your own vehicle, the prices could vary. Bus passes can run from $50 to $100 depending on the city. And personal vehicles will require licensing, gas, insurance, repairs, maintenance, and school parking passes. See, many dismiss this with the thought, well, I have shoes, will travel, but watch out for the unexpected distance and limited time that you may have, especially in changing weather. An idea here is to overestimate what things might cost you and underestimate the money that you'll work with in order to allow for a bit of a buffer. And there can be times when even the best planning can make it difficult for students to make ends meet. Then what? For instance, the Food Locker is an anonymous program at Georgian College that helps students bridge the gap when needed. The key thought is to reach out to others for support if you know that things might be getting tight in a particular month. But what about the costs of school itself? We're often asked about the cost of tuition at Georgian, and this is a tricky question to answer because tuition does vary by program. In our program guide, we have a great resource in there which gives a snapshot of approximate annual fees. But this includes tuition, program-specific fees, and many other fees, ancillary fees, things like this, so that it gives our students a general idea what to expect in a typical year. Our website provides detailed fee information for every course. You can visit our admissions section and follow the links tuition and fees for more information. Tuition mostly refers to the actual cost of your course, the cost of your education, and it may not include other things that you need to consider like compulsory fees. Fees can range from $3,900 per year for a diploma program and thousands of dollars or more per year each year for a 4-year program. The full fee schedule is listed online. Compulsory fees. These are things like student fees, co-op, and career fees. Some of these will fall under a category heading of compulsory, which means you have to pay for them. Some of them you can opt out of. Student health insurance often falls under that category. At Georgian, if you provide proof of coverage through your work, your parents, or another service provider, will allow you to opt out and receive a refund for that fee, which puts the dollars back in your pocket. Books and special equipment. The cost of books can dramatically change from one program to another. You can do a bit of research into the cost of books once you have your list in August if you're coming to Georgian, and see if you can score some deals on used books by connecting with your upper year peers. You can like our Facebook page and keep up to date with all the latest Georgian news. Special equipment costs are the highest in the first year due to some one-time purchases like equipment costs, knives if you're a chef, a uniform, or a kit if you're a nurse, things like that. So we also have housing, food, and education. At Georgian College, just a note, the gym, fitness center services are included in your regular fees. No additional cost to use these facilities. Other costs to consider that don't necessarily factor into any particular category but are definitely things you'll want to be aware of are things like library fees, being aware of options for special trips for your program. Like, did you know you can take the third semester of our culinary management program in France? And parking fees. Birthdays, anniversaries, showers. I mean, life will march on while you're in school, and people are going to start getting married, having kids, and you might want to attend some of these festivities with something more robust than a pot of craft dinner. You need to plan for these things. As for unexpected costs, only you know what your actual or exact personal situation is. You need to factor those kinds of things into your budget. So think about housing, food, education, and life. Write down the things that you need to consider and how much you figure they might cost. Add it all up at the bottom and you'll get a ballpark for what it will cost for 1 year of education. Now multiply that number by however many years your program is, and that's how you figure out how much you might be spending on your education. Entertainment costs are often the unexpected costs. The majority of students fail to budget an entertainment amount. And then, when they want to have some fun or relax, it cuts into the money for other things. That number will likely be somewhat intimidating, and there may even be people in the room today who are thinking to themselves, well, I'm not so sure I can actually afford to do this. The real question that you need to ask yourself is, what does my future look like if I don't? The cost of education should be looked at as an investment, and it's an investment of the very best kind. Yourself. You're putting yourself in a position for a better career, a better future, a better lifestyle. And it isn't the purpose of this presentation to strike fear into your heart. We're here to help you be smart about financing your post-secondary education. Now that we've covered the cost of your post-secondary education, the first talk of our series on financing, you will have some ideas and thoughts on what to save, earn, and apply for. You can't stop here. Go on to the next talk in our series, Funding Your Education, to find out some great strategies to go after those needed funds to invest in your future.